him dance. Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk with Wendy Stuart.
And Tym Moss. Hi.
Hi. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good.
You are. I was going to say you're feeling good and looking good. Your hair is looking good.
Oh, I've got it pulled back.
So you're doing the bun thing or the ponytail thing again?
Yeah, I got like a ponytail going on.
Oh my God! I just totally.
Tim, like to watch Lucy or something.
So excited about everybody this Sunday.
And I was just going to say we got a party coming up.
A big one, though.
Tell them about it, Wendy.
A big party. My birthday extravaganza. 2 shows, 18 performers, and I'll put more in if I can. I know, 2 shows, 18 performers, champagne toast, cake, not only for me, but for the other 3 Capricorns, Evan Lawrence, Albert C. Penna, and the fabulous Felipe Rose, who's doing 2 songs. And it's just... my gosh, we've got all in New York coming here, and it's just so great. I love celebrating, right?
Well,
Celebrating.
And did you tell them what it is? It's your birthday.
Well, yeah, it's my birthday. It's the extravaganza. I did a similar party right before the pandemic.
Right. Oh my God, that was so much fun.
It was so much fun, and it was 2 shows, and it was really great. And I have DJ Clef is going to handle all the music and everything, and we're going to be here at PANGEA, which, as you all know, it's been our home, So
so come down at 7:00 this Sunday.
7:00 this Sunday. Be there or be square. I like gift cards. People are asking. No, you don't have to bring anything. You can just bring yourself and your good wishes, and that'll do. Oh, and pray. You have to pray for my car. I had Tim,
why? No, you didn't tell me.
Oh yeah, you've heard. Didn't John Waters do a film, Female Trouble?
Yeah.
I'm going to do one called Car Trouble. Well, I keep my car parked out of the city, and we had that storm a few weeks ago, and where I park it is next to like a swamp or a marsh. Well, it was by Metro North, and they sent a notice out to anyone that was parked there. They might want to move their car. I couldn't get up there. It's up in Croton. So to make a long story short, 2 weeks later, I came to get my car, and I knew it wasn't good when there were pieces of the marsh, like cattails and stuff stuck underneath my car.
Oh, no. Oh my God, it flooded?
It flooded. Wait, I opened up the door and I went to get something out of the back seat. The back seat was soaked. So I realized the water had come up about 4 feet. I go to get in the car. Every light goes on. So, I call Subaru, and as I'm talking to them on the phone, all the lights are going off. I'm like, maybe the problem resolved itself. I drove that weekend. Last weekend, I got there, went to get in the car and turn it on. She was deader than a doornail.
Oh, my goodness.
But thank God for Subaru roadside assistance. They jump-started me. I drove right to Subaru, and it turns out something in the computer. I mean, you know what, people? It's like... we street park because we don't have a choice. I cannot pay $600 a month for a garage in Manhattan.
Right.
But you know what? It's just, God damn, man.
Oh my God. Because the thing is, it used to be you could just change like the fan belt or something like that. Now it's all computers. They're completely computers, and they can zap and... yeah, they have to go in for like a complete overhaul. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. My God.
Well, you know what? I'm still standing. These are little problems in the world.
Right.
Thursday night, and I say little problems in the world. Thursday night, we are having a big fundraiser for Rainbow Railroad. It's called the Railroad to Freedom. It's at One Penn Plaza. It starts at 6. We are going to be raising much needed funds for LGBTQ plus people in countries where they're being persecuted and are victims of violence. What Rainbow Railroad does is, it was named after the Underground Railroad. This is so incredible. Gets them a new identity, changes. Wow. Yeah, this is like, it's sounding so simple. They're getting them out of these countries and
that's amazing. That's
and it's so wonderful, right? And Tim, you know so many advocacy groups as I do, but I had never heard of them. They are based out of Canada, and we know so much. So my idea, I want to spread the word. I had the 2 people involved with them, Karen Haycox and Richard Moray, who are very key players in this. Karen's on their board. They were on Triversity Talk, my other show. Please, folks, if you can, come by One Penn Plaza, 6:00 this Thursday, January 12th, Rainbow Railroad. If you can't come, please go online, look at their website, rainbowrailroad.org.
Really
read the stories. It will make your hair stand on end. You know what's going on in the world in the LGBTQ community,
absolutely.
where people
I would love to help with that
Oh, I know how you are. Right.
Yeah,
right.
that's my kind
So
of
we can talk. Yeah, we can totally talk further. Absolutely.
So other than your car, but in addition to your car, like turning the key and starting, my microwave went the other day.
Mercury's retrograde. Oh my God.
It just died. I mean, it was in the middle of cooking something, and I'm a microwaver. I'm like lost all week.
Same.
So I've got a new one being delivered today. Thank you, God.
Whose microwave did you get, Tim? Who's coming? GE?
I don't even remember. I was just like microwave, searching for microwaves. I don't remember.
Right. I would have had a mini breakdown because, like you, how many people out there are microwave dependent? My daughter won't go near it. She believes that those waves are not. Yeah, she's a cooker. She got an air fryer. She's one of those.
Oh yes, I do like my air fryer too.
Oh, you have an air fryer?
Yes, I do like my air fryer.
Yeah.
Well, I had a kind of a busy week. I was out, and it was in Brooklyn. I kept going to Brooklyn. I had to go out to Brooklyn for a taping of Comedy Sex Show, which is so much fun.
Oh, I love that.
About a very special episode coming up. I'll tell you about that at a later date.
And what's your co-host on there? I love her. What's her name again?
Well, there's Lola Bastonado and Tara Tiara.
Tara, I haven't met Lola.
Tara is wonderful.
Yeah, I love Tara.
Actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything, but they're planning on coming on Sunday night.
Oh, I was going to ask if
they were like, I love Wendy. I love Wendy. And then,
we have a love
but, and then I went out to the screening of Eris, Twisted TV, which Wendy was a part of. One of the sketches there. And we shot some more sketches, and we saw the screening of it, which was very fun. So
cool. Wow.
Yeah. And then, so I'm just kind of bebopping all over the place. But firstly, I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss. And we'll be right back with our wonderful and incredible guest. Mm-hmm.
So we have an incredible guest today.
Yes.
The minute I saw this person perform here at Kobe Cole's Nouveau Riche, which is his monthly show, which will be here again on Tuesday, the 31st of January, I believe. It's that Tuesday, the end of the month. I saw this person perform, and I'm like, my God, that voice.
Right.
My God, that face. Really easy on the eyes, too.
Absolutely.
Like, where did this beautiful human being come from? And then we started, of course, talking at the bar, and I got a little bit of history there. And I'm like, I have to have you on. You're so perfect for If These Walls Could Talk. So our guest today has gone from Disney in Tokyo to the Book of Mormon, Kinky Boots with Broadway Across America, and originated and starred as a vocalist in Cirque du Soleil's Volta. He's sharing his amazing background in audition confidence and technique with students out there, which is great. He's a person that pays it forward. And you know what? I knew that before I even read about him. So without further ado, you have to meet the gorgeous. He's coughing up a furball, but he'll be here any minute. Plenty don't expire on me. That's why you have water. Without further ado, let me introduce the fabulous one and only Darius Anthony Harper. Hey, how are you? Are we okay? Do I have to give you a pat on the back? A Heimlich maneuver.
Thank you guys so much for having me today. I was wholly impressed with your talks about really being allies and advocates for
allies and advocates. Yeah, big time.
The homosexuals around the world. Right. So thank you so much. It's very necessary.
Right. Well, thank you very much, because we know, reading about you and seeing that you're paying it forward, teaching actors how to have confidence, how to believe in themselves. Who better than you? Because to get as far as you've gotten, you had to have a certain agenda.
Sure. Yes, I think agenda is the perfect word. As a mentor and mentee success story, I think that access really is what makes the world go round, you know. And someone who grew up fairly poor and finding theater arts as a way out of my situation. I didn't always have that access, so I love to be sort of that conduit for others to have that.
It's interesting that I grew up in the Bronx, middle class, and then kind of lower middle class because my dad got sick. And I would have never thought in my family, nobody would have said theater as like a way out. Are you out of your mind? So did you come up with that concept, or your family was behind you? Or
you know what was funny? So my grandmother raised me largely, but I would kind of go back and forth between my mom. Yes.
Now, firstly, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Boston originally, but I grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire, which is a little tiny suburb at like the Massachusetts, New Hampshire border. And so for me, as like, you know, a Black kid in sort of a largely white community, being poor in a middle class or upper class neighborhood is really a mind screw.
And the opportunities that they would naturally have, that they weren't coming to you. They weren't
right, because everything costs something, you know. Even the local theater you had to kind of pay, and I was, thank God, you know, my director Scott Severance was able to give me like a scholarship to participate in the plays and whatnot, and so it's really important for me to be that person.
So thank you, first of all, for mentioning Scott Severance is his name.
Yes.
God bless all the people out there. There needs to be more of that to give kids opportunity.
Because like for me, I grew up in the countryside of Indiana in the 60s and the 70s. There was no professional entertainers. It was all just for fun, like for somebody to actually make a career of that. And I remember Mr. Burdine, my junior high and high school music teacher, was the first person ever to encourage me and encourage that. And so hats off, like Wendy said, to these people who encourage and nourish someone's talent like that.
So your grandmother, when you got this scholarship, so she was the one behind you?
Yeah, she really soldiered me. You know, when I was little, she put me in like modeling and stuff. So I was doing a bit of work with Cameo Kids. Shout out Cameo Kids.
I love Grandma.
So you were. I mean,
she's incredible.
Could see it. She could see it.
I watched this woman like put herself through her master's degree like at 40, and you know, she's really been a huge like inspiration to me in my life. But so it wasn't. I wanted to run track in college, right? And so. I think my sophomore year of high school, I broke my femur at a track meet.
It's like Olympic.
Oh my God. How did that happen?
Gets messed up.
I was a long jumper.
How did that happen?
I forgot my waffles or something, which are the shoes you wear that are like very like thin. So I had on my sneakers, and it was indoor track. And I got startled because there was like a race gun that went off, and I just turned in midair.
Oh my God! You mean another race while you were about to land or about to? Oh my God!
We hear this stuff happening to Olympic kids all the time. So you were finished after that.
I was really scared to kind of go back into that, and so I put all of my focus and energy into the theater arts. My town has a really well-known theater program called the Peacock Players. I was telling Wendy before we started that several of like my peers are on Broadway and in movies.
How cool is that?
This year we have people in Funny Girl. One of my good friends was in the West Side Story film. So you know, there's something in the water where we come from.
Well, but these kids were all part of the Peacock Players. Yes. And who came up with this idea in Nashua to start this theater company?
You know, I believe it started out as the American, or it was like the not stagecoach. What is it? Anyways, there's like this beautiful little black box theater that's kind of attached to. There's like a little complex where our town library is.
I love it.
And we have like pretty popular Granite State Ballet there, and so a lot of the dance students and the theater kids kind of met in the middle at this sort of institution. It's really beautiful. And I mean, our artistic director Scott, like he like starred in Fever Pitch, the film from several years ago. So we really were seeing him do the work in real time.
Right. Absolutely, and educational. Yeah. Now, when did you discover that you had a talent for singing and musical theater? Like, were you in a play or decided to try out for a play, or how did that begin? When was that seed planted?
I think if you ask my grandmother, I think she would say that I probably sang from my car seat.
Yeah.
But
we find that a lot, by the way. Kobe Cole was another kid.
Yes.
At 2 and 3. So you had a voice
before I could talk. Yeah. So I moved when I moved from Boston to New Hampshire. I was in like 3rd grade maybe. And in my school there was a drama program.
Right.
It was Broad Street Elementary School. And I remember I was like the only Black kid. And this teacher, Mrs. Walsh, really kind of took me under her wing. I think she saw that I was struggling a little bit. Yeah, hats off to Mrs. Walsh. She really was like the seed planter.
Yes.
And there was a musical or like a play that was written, and I got the leading role of the jester in this sort of like Once Upon a Mattress type show.
Fun.
So you got the leading role in this predominantly white class.
Yes.
So, and you were the new kid also.
Exactly.
All right. So what happened with all of that?
They hated it.
New bitch.
Exactly.
How dare she come in here? Exactly. It was worse than RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you really now were sticking out like a sore thumb. Sure. Did performing in that and being fabulous in that and all eyes on you in that, did it change the way they perceived you after that?
I think my family mostly saw me and saw my talent and my potential in the theater arts.
Yeah.
And really from that time on, I really was like seeking out like theatrical opportunities.
So you had found your happy place.
I was a kid who would, because my grandma worked a lot. Thank God for that, because she provided what we needed. I would walk to rehearsals. I would walk to auditions. I had a lot of, friends who had cars. As a poor kid, I didn't have a car, but yeah, if I look back on my younger self, like he was inspired and was like showing up, and in a way that like, I don't know if like me today could, you know what I mean?
Right. But also showing up is 90% of it. You've got to show up.
And
firstly, thank you everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and fabulous guest, Darius Anthony Harper. Go ahead, Wendy.
To Tim's point, showing up, is 3/4 of it, but it's also you still have that go for it, chomping at the bit attitude. Yeah. Like you telling me this about you as a kid, I don't find that any different from who you are now, from the person I talked to at the bar that night, from the person on stage that gave 150%. To be able to carry that with you is really something, Darius, because a lot of people in this business, as you know, the level of rejection, you can be brilliant and still be rejected. Right. So kudos to you that you kept all that inside of you. It shows that is who you are at the end of the day. And you did grandma proud too.
I hope so. I think so.
And then you went to Arizona?
I did, yeah. So I moved to New York City.
New York was first.
To attend AMDA.
The American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Correct.
It's on the Upper West Side.
Yes, there's one in the Upper West Side and one in LA as well.
Right.
I didn't realize they had an LA branch now.
I didn't either. But yeah.
Yes. And so it's funny. There was actually a moment in school when I was called into education and they were like, hey, like nobody's paid your tuition for several months. What are you going to do? And so I left school that day. I remember going to my teacher, Stacy Tilton, and she was like, you're going to be okay. I remember crying to my teacher, and
awful.
We weren't really allowed to audition in college. And so like, I kind of really like was like couch surfing, train surfing, like really like borderline homeless.
Right.
And I was able to book a production of Kiss Me Kate with the Arizona Broadway Theater.
Get out. You went out and got a job.
I went out and got a job. Yeah.
And paid your own tuition.
I left school, but I just really started my career in that moment. That's real life, sometimes.
Absolutely.
I'm really thankful for my time at AMDA.
Yes.
I wish that I could have had a little bit more wisdom, but that comes with age, and like what 17-year-old has any sort of life skills.
Exactly. That's true. But
also
at
that point, how long had you gone to AMDA for?
I had been there for about a year.
And you had to leave. You were forced to leave because of, we hear these stories all the time.
But also, in my opinion, you're going out and getting that job and actually working.
Yeah.
was probably more of an education that you would have gotten in a classroom.
Absolutely.
Well, you were ready. You wouldn't have booked it unless you were ready.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm really thankful for Cassandra Norval Clap Hockey and Kyle Clap Hockey at the Arizona Broadway Theater for really believing in me and employing me for like 2 or 3 seasons, you know?
So you had money coming in. You had really changed your stage picture.
It set me up for complete success.
I will say, and this goes back to Tim's point, you had the goods going in. You had already, and I tell people this all the time, you already had the work behind you. You know what? You auditioned for plays, you got them.
Passion. The passion. Have passion.
These schools, AMT is great, but they are finishing schools. You understand that. It's and even people that go to colleges for amazing theatrical programs. If you were a kid actor and you were performing your whole life and you studied with people along the way, you might not need that finishing school at the end.
Sure.
You got the stuff already.
You got the stuff.
You got the stuff. Good for you.
And then Disney came calling.
Well, so I spent several seasons in Arizona. I think I came back a couple times.
And that was Phoenix?
That was in Phoenix. It's actually in Glendale, Sun City, Arizona. But yeah, I actually got the call. I was supposed to do Ain't Misbehavin' at Arizona Broadway Theater after Crazy for You. And I got the offer to go out to Tokyo Disney while I was in Arizona. And of course, they, soldiered for me and were very supportive of me taking that opportunity, which really changed my life, that experience.
We want to hear about that. I mean, there you are. You had never been out of the country till then, right?
My grandmother, I'm going to talk about her a lot.
Yeah,
Elaine Jones, if you're watching, I know she's somewhere.
Hi.
Love you.
She afforded me the opportunity to go to Europe with my French class in junior high.
Really?
So I had kind of traveled a little bit. But like, if we're talking Asia, you know what I mean?
Right?
Being abroad, I mean, it really was an incredible opportunity.
I haven't been to Japan yet, but I've heard it's just absolutely remarkable.
It's incredible, and I had like a condo to myself there.
Oh, they put you up large.
There's a place called E-Village that's right on Tokyo Bay. It actually suffered a lot of damage in the earthquake.
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah, where it's kind of positioned. But yeah, I mean, like the Cirque shows come through there. A lot of like gymnasts, globally renowned athletes.
It's a crossroads for performance.
But I was like 21 at the time, so I was like, oh my gosh,
what an opportunity. I was trying to get into Studio 54 at 21. We're in Tokyo Disney.
Well, I just want to say thank you for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss and our wonderful and incredible guest Darius Anthony Harper.
Yay.
Good. So, what was life like in Tokyo for you?
Life was really amazing. Although, if you can imagine, like, kind of being, the poor kid who has tenacity and talent, right? And so you're achieving because of those things.
You're there because, know.
And then you're thrust into a culture that is seniority based. And so the respect kind of ladder is based on your age and in turn, like your wisdom of life.
Okay.
So I did a show called Big Band Beat, which there's a park called Tokyo Disney Sea. And they have a Disneyland as well, but I was working in Disney Sea, and it's kind of the adult, like an adult park, not that kind of adult.
Okay. It's like, what kind of adult park?
Yeah, I'm salivating.
Adult entertainment, not anything sexual or anything.
Right.
There's like a whole New York section. So my show was a jazz show.
Perfect.
Like a big band show, as you can probably tell by the title. And so there are 2 male singers, and I was one of them. And I'm sure I had a little chip. I'm sure I had some, that sort of East Coast attitude.
New York attitude.
But I learned a lot about enduring and what it means for something being a them problem and not a you issue, and how to kind of digest those things.
That's a sophisticated for a kid to learn.
I'm sure I didn't apply it in the time, but now that I look back at it, I'm for that experience because it really gave me a set of brass balls.
Exactly.
There was a couple instances where, like, we all were supposed to open our cast, and like they didn't let me open because the director was like unsure if I was ready, and I like, of course, I was like, just a mess.
Okay,
Wow.
that's a really intense experience,
Yeah.
Darius, to happen when you're young, because you're already on shaky ground. You're in a foreign country. You're in a foreign culture. And
it's working through a translator, mind you. So the
of
director
course
is
you
like,
were, right.
definitely like
Yeah.
talking shit about me
Yeah, right.
to the translator, but the translator's not telling me like exactly what she's saying.
Right. And it wasn't just arigato.
Okay.
But now you also mentioned that like Cirque du Soleil would come through there. Is that how you connected with them?
With Volta?
No, I actually connected with Cirque through one of my mentors. God rest her soul. Her name was Séverine Parent. She just passed away a couple months ago of cancer.
Oh,
I'm so
God
sorry.
rest her. Thank you. Yeah, she was
her.
an amazing person. And so I got the Kinky Boots National Tour opened at the Smith Center in Las Vegas.
nice.
And I got an email asking me about an interest and availability for Taruk, which is Cirque du Soleil's Avatar show. That they have.
Oh,
Cameron
interesting.
McIntosh Avatar. Wait, is it Cameron McIntosh? I don't know. That might be the Broadway guy. Anyways, the blue people, not Avatar.
Okay.
To be the vocalist, which is like the shaman of the Navi show. But obviously I was on tour at the time, and so then
you
Severine,
can't be two places at once.
Exactly. She circled back to me and was like, "Hey, we have this neo soul show," which actually ended up being like a sort of EDM creation
Cool.
that we're doing, and we would love to look at you for, you know, the singer. And for several months we corresponded. Amazing. And I had to send like a lot of stuff to them, and that culminated in them like flying me to Montreal one day, and I had my like final callback in front of like 60 people.
Nice.
Yeah, it was an experience.
That's amazing. But it did go. It's a good point. It went on for a really long time.
Probably 9 months of correspondence.
But then you became the lead singer for this show, correct?
Yeah. How amazing.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. It's absolutely so incredible.
It really changed.
Where did you
you toured? You toured with them?
Yes, we were on a world tour.
A world tour.
It happened, and Volta was
so
cut
this
short.
is okay. So this is a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
How did you like? I see a person with such incredible patience. Where did you learn like this patience to be able to wait for the next thing?
That's called dissociation.
Okay, let's talk about dissociation. We really get into it on here. You would disassociate.
I mean, for me,
Wow.
I think my hands, when they're idle, they get dirty for sure. And so I've really noticed, actually, since the pandemic, I had a lot of trouble with identity and not equating my self-worth or identity with my productivity. You know, I think when you start working so young and you're self-made and
it's all there,
lucky enough to, you know, have work.
Right.
When you don't have it anymore, it's like, who is this person? I felt like a husk, like a shell, you know?
Right.
Now, where did you spend COVID?
So I had actually left Cirque probably like, I don't know, maybe a year before the pandemic started. And I was actually at the Fulton Opera House doing a production of Kinky Boots, and
Fulton, which is a great show.
It's beautiful.
Fulton, where?
It's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Amish country.
Yes.
Yeah. You can get taffy there.
You can.
Right watch your teeth.
But no, my friend and now a mentor of mine, Mark Robin, is the artistic director there, and so we had just opened, and I think this was like the Saturday of our opening week. And we were all in costumes, and they were like, "Okay, we're about to call places, but this is your last show." And we were like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh my God!
We had seen kind of this flu, you know, taking
over, you know, come on,
the city and stuff, and we're like, "Oh, it's not going to get here."
Right, so, that's what everybody thought.
Right, none of us knew.
Thank God they let us.
You did one show.
Stay out there a little bit.
So you stayed in Pennsylvania for a little while?
Yeah.
Yes, I think a couple people stayed there for like the better
probably
part of the year.
whole time.
I wish, now looking back on it, I wish I had kind of stayed a little longer. But so the borders between Pennsylvania and New York were like closed or something, if I'm recalling.
Yeah. No, they tried what they tried to do, and because I have a house in Pennsylvania, they tried to have where you were going to have to register, but that never went through. The biggest problem with Pennsylvania You are legally allowed to have a gun there.
Oh,
And here, yeah, you didn't know this. This is the reason why I didn't hide out in Pennsylvania during this whole thing. They were blaming the New Yorkers, especially where I was in Milford, on bringing the virus to them. Right. I know, right? Like we were bringing it over the border.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't think it was so safe. It could have gotten scary. They're allowed to have guns there.
Well, and there was like a window where like we had to leave.
Yeah,
like, at this time
you had to be back in your.
And I was kind of reeling, so I was like, I'm gonna stay here. So, long story short, it was easier for me to fly to Boston and go home to New Hampshire for a while.
Right.
And of course, like you get home and you're like, now I see why I left here.
Yeah, right.
So then thank God I still had my apartment in New York. So I came home.
You kept it. Good for you.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So you ended up coming back to New York then?
Eventually. Yes.
Okay.
But,
well, thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our fabulous and wonderful guest, the wonderful Darius Anthony Harper. Yay!
Yay! Oh my gosh, Tim, I want to see the video now.
Yes, absolutely. Well, now, which video is this? Tell me which one.
Okay, this video took place on the Fulton Opera House stage in Lancaster.
Oh, okay.
As we talked about before the break.
Perfect segue.
This was a telethon that happened because Fulton largely had to lay off their staff during the pandemic. And so we did a telethon to raise funds to keep people employed and to bring them back on the other side of things. So this is a performance that you're going to see from the telethon.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
What a good cause. Thank you.
I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So come, take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation. It's my world. I want to have a little pride in my world. And it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not damn till you can say, hey, I am what I am what I am. I don't want praise. I don't want pity. I think I conjure up something. It's noise. I think it's pretty. And so what if I love each feather and each scale? Why not try to see things from a different angle? Shout out, I am what I am. I am. Need no excuses. I deal my own deck. Sometimes the yes, sometimes the music. That's overtime. They come to the all I say it's true.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh my God, that was incredible.
Thank
Kobe
you.
Cole is watching.
Breathtaking, right?
He said breathtaking.
Tim, it was breathtaking. How much money did you raise?
I believe the goal was 250,000.
Jesus, right.
We were like below it before that performance, and then it like skyrocketed past what they needed. And we actually had like 30,000 views on Facebook. with that video. So it really just
Beautiful.
another level up, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was perfection. That was just
so much.
wonderful. And of course, that's from Kinky Boots, which you were on the national tour. Or I'm sorry, for La Cage.
That show, that song is from La Cage Fall.
La Cage.
In La Cage Fall, and you were in that show as well in La Cage
I
Fall.
did, yes, I did La Cage when I was a younger girl, when the leg was still up, Tim.
Yeah.
The light never goes out.
So I was just looking over some of the shows that you've done, like La Cage Fall, Smokey Joe's Cafe, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Grease, Man of Volta. I mean, these are amazing shows and productions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, do you have a favorite?
You know, anything that really pushes the idea of, I think, what theater can be. It's funny, like coming to New York in the early 2000s, I still had the mindset. I was like, I'm going to be the token. I'm the token black. That is, I'm gonna do this and I'm going to like shatter these ceilings, when in like all actuality, like that's not how this works, you know? And so anything that really, I think, challenges the norm of this Broadway model here.
Well put.
You know, new works, all that to say, new works are sort of what make me tick these days.
Yeah.
Well, because the new works are the hope on the horizon.
Right.
They're the new thing, and you get to put all of that energy and all your expertise into the new project, and you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
New, fresh, and it's what you can bring to the party.
I just want to say thank you for everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful, incredibly talented friend Darius Anthony Harper.
Yay. You have really learned sustainability, patience. Like you just said something. You think you're going to be the it girl, and you're not.
Exactly.
How do you, when you're getting knocked down, what do you use to get up again? What do you think in your head?
Good question.
I think having a circle
of support
that gets you, that knows you, and not the veneer that we put on for everyone.
Right.
You know, just even yesterday. So I was up for the parade revival. And I was up for that city center, right? And I thought I did great. But of course I didn't get it. And so my agent called me last week and he was like, hey, they loved your tape for Parade. They're considering you for the standby for Jim Conley on Broadway.
Oh.
I was like, wow, they loved me, but like, they didn't even, know that, all these months ago.
They looked at your tape.
Exactly.
They looked at your tape.
Exactly.
They didn't see this ball of energy and electric. This is what's getting lost in translation.
I agree.
So I didn't get it. And so my agent calls me Monday morning. It was due Monday morning. And he calls me like at 11:30 Monday morning. And he says, they thought you were really great. You are second in line if this guy does not accept the contract or something happens. And, I put the covers over my head and I was going to stay in bed. And, my friend Elijah called me a lot. He said, bitch, get up.
Yeah, get your ass out of bed.
If you didn't have the job yesterday, you're not going to die if you don't have it tomorrow.
Love it.
Yes.
T-shirt. Yes.
Love that.
T-shirt. Right. Exactly.
It's really just, support and really exist. I have to exist in a space of reality. And as long as I'm proud of myself, the job really is kind of the garland that gets hung on all of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But you brought out a good point, okay? And you said it about the pandemic. Everything that you identified with went away for all of us during the pandemic. Who are we? And
it's almost like, we've got sure footing, but then we didn't. Everything was
thank you. So who are you? I envied my friends that still had my friend Jed, who we love to death, amazing photographer, writer, but Jed is a nurse. And I had Jed on my cooking show and he was leaving because he was going to do his shift in the hospital. I was
at the beginning of the pandemic.
Envying him, risking his life as an essential worker, going there. I was like, I would walk into Duane Reade and see the girls at the cash register and envy. Right, because suddenly I never had a survival job. This is all I've ever done.
Well,
And
that
so,
part, Wendy.
So, but what did I learn? That was pretty freaking dumb because every egg was in my basket. I
Right.
never thought anything would take me out. And it was like,
Mhm.
God damn, a virus? And it's everywhere? Right. It's in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Yes.
It's in the Amish country. It is everywhere. So we have to tell ourselves something, and we have to surround ourselves with people that are going to lift us up. And this guy was one of the first ones, Tim Moss, that I talked to, because we were still out there when everything was shut down. I was like, nope, this is
Wendy
not
get it
happening.
going. Wendy would get it going. Get everybody going.
And the idea for this show came in front of PANGEA, which was all shuttered, but they were doing outside service. I'm freezing my gagnones off out there under a heat lamp.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, why don't I just come up with a show? I had never podcasted in my life. All right. But I knew other people were doing it. And all of a sudden, the barriers, right? The things that tell us, maybe we shouldn't do it. Maybe I can't do it. That wasn't there. Right. It was a pandemic. And girl, I was pissed. I'm still pissed, as we all should be.
Well, that's it. We have anger. We have resentment, rage,
it's
confusion.
all good.
Now, this is completely off topic, but last night I went and saw Strange Loop on Broadway.
Oh, yeah,
Have you seen Strange Loop? Have you seen it?
Myself?
Yeah.
Yes, I for several years I was a part of the development.
Oh my
God!
God!
Okay,
incredible.
Yeah, because my friend L. Morgan Lee was in it.
Yes.
Yeah, we did another show together with Reverend Yolanda, Wendy and my
we
friend.
love, we love it.
But that show, everything you're talking about and everything you've talked about and growing up, it just all kind of brought Strange Loop back into my mind, because that was very.
But also, Tim, the story behind Strange Loop. How long did he wait? But how long was he in it to win it? Years.
I think we did the first readings of A Strange Loop in 2010.
Wow.
Something at the Lark Play Development Center, maybe 2012, but definitely not much sooner than that, And so to see kind of the trajectory of Michael and what Michael means to the Black community in theater, I think is way bigger than he ever could have imagined.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe hoped, but could have imagined that, just how much peace means to so many people.
Right. Absolutely. And you just don't know. That's what you learn.
I just want to say again, thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tim Moss, and our wonderful and incredible special guest, Darius Anthony Harper.
Special.
Speaking of development, things in development, you're working with, is it Titus Burgess? Or
yes, Titus is penned Preacher's Wife. Yes.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about that. So that's in development now, right?
Correct. I don't know. I'm not necessarily a part of the show in its current state, but yes, I did a few readings of A Preacher's Wife. We actually were doing them in Middle Collegiate Church. We would have the readings in the sanctuary, which I think was such a beautiful.
How wonderful!
Listen, the first reading we did, Deborah Messing's in the front row. I'm a mess. Just a mess. If you guys do see Preacher's Wife happening, definitely go see it. It's phenomenal, as we all know Burgess to be.
Incredible! Wow!
Well, now how can people find out more about you or follow you?
I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook at Darius Anthony Harper.
Easy to follow.
You can find me on Instagram at Darius Harius, DARIUS HARIUS.
Wow.
As well as on Twitter. I'm around.
Let's talk about February 3rd.
Oh,
yes, absolutely.
February 3rd at 7 p.m. I have a solo show coming up at PANGEA. That's Friday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. Featuring myself, of course, and my lovely music director, Darnell White. Many of you probably know him from Respect on Tour as a musical director there, as well as Revelation off Broadway. And I have a special guest named Robert Denzel Edwards, who is one of my chosen children. I met doing Kinky Boots at the Anger Theater in Ithaca. And
very cool.
Yeah, we have.
And the name of the show?
The name of the show is called Black, BLAQUE, because I am what?
Black. Black with
I was thinking talented.
It's queen with a W. Exactly. It's the same thing.
I just wanted to talk about the Black experience.
Wonderful
song. It's not going to be, a history lesson because we all know what happened.
But it's your experience. It's your experience.
Exactly.
That's what you bring to the party.
Exactly. We're gonna be up in the highest of drag.
Oh, drag! I'll be here.
Songs from top 40 to jazz standards to the Broadway canon and back again.
I love it.
I would love.
Wonderful. Well, everyone, please be sure to follow Darius Anthony Harper for all of his upcoming performances and I'll find out where you can go see him perform. So thank you very much, Darius. We so appreciate your tuning in and taking some time and hanging out with us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Okay, now we can talk.
It rolls. Tim, I always love doing the comments right after our break.
I do too. Well, just a second. Let me get up here. John Jiden Griffin Attil says, "Hello, my friends. Sending love from rainy Southern California."
Wow, right. They're getting rain there. He's a wonderful support of our show. Thank you. And thank you for getting my autographed copy of my book written to somebody else and who put it back on Amazon and pushed it off as an original copy. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I love this kind of stuff. Thank you, John.
Amran Hagris says, "Happy birthday." I'm guessing that's to Wendy.
Yes. Thank you, Amran.
Kobe Cole made a few comments. I love Kobe. Kobe says, "I never had a microwave." I love that.
Oh, God,
he also said, "Work, XOXO, I love you all." Egypt LaBeja, oh, I love Egypt.
Says, performing. She's performing here on Sunday night.
Amazing.
Oh, good. Yeah. But Egypt says, "I just love him."
Wow,
yes.
Thanks so much.
Kobe Cole said, "Breathtaking." Suze Valex Genero, for our friend, she's a designer from Massachusetts, XOXO, and she says, "Yes, perfection."
And if you need costumes, she's your girl.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
She does incredible work.
Evan Lawrence.
Hi, Evan.
Hello, all. And Jimmy Starr says, "Great guest."
Oh,
Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy's my PR person.
From Palm Springs, California. So we got people from all over.
God, I love it. You brought them all in, and I got a private text from Robert McKeon, a wonderful actor, and who I interviewed, and he's just loving the show. So there you go. You're done good, Darius. You came to smoking verbal. You're done good. Please have water. You feel free.
And so we saw you do the telethon. I saw a video where you were for the Trevor Project, a fundraiser, and also Susie Mosher's lineup. Yes. I saw a video of you performing there, which I love Susie. Oh my God.
She's the greatest.
That show is always off the hook. Always off the hook.
See, I don't know any of these people. Are these like variety shows that people put together? We call them variety shows, and they have a lot of different.
Susie Mosher does at Birdland. Susie Mosher does Birdland. She does lineup every Tuesday night.
So every Tuesday, right? Yes.
And just has stellar Broadway performers and entertainers.
And Tim, that's every Tuesday night?
I believe. Yeah, it's back on. She was off during the holidays, but I think it's back.
Okay. Very, I mean, I learned about urban stages from Tim. I went to see performances there. They did a whole winter series. You know, even as a New Yorker, even somebody that is involved in this scene, you just don't know about all of it.
There's a lot of
you know, Susie really does go out and do all of the like scouting. You know, I had a residency at the Q Club.
Oh, you're kidding? Oh, yeah, we know the Q Club.
I had my birthday party there.
You know, all of the racial issues and sensitivity started happening. We're not going to talk about that.
Tim had a fabulous birthday party there that he produced. It was like a show. It could have been on TV. His birthday
establishment. You know, we just hope they. You know, anywho. And so I through that, you know, I've met a lot of people who were doing stuff in Midtown, and I work a lot with my friend Blake Allen, who is the producer and creator of an Evening With series at Green Room 42.
Oh, yeah, and I just learned about Green Room 42 because
I love that room.
I work there when I'm not on stage.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually working there tonight. Anywho, so yeah, Susie really, you know, would come to those sort of things and find artists that, you know, were inspirational. And I wasn't ready for Miss Susie Mosher, okay? Because so basically, Susie is the height of comedy and improv. Okay.
Yes,
so she has an opening number, Wendy, in the show that is not set. It's just one song that she makes up in the moment.
Oh my God, a girl after my own heart. We love
that. And it's fantastic. And I was just I'm just so impressed with Susie.
I have to get down there to see, you know, for me, that's my alley. Soleil.
Wendy, yeah, you and I should stop in there one night.
It's a plan. Darius, I talked earlier. I'm so impressed by you because you're taking everything that you're about and you're mentoring other actors. You're creating safe space for them. Tell us how you're doing that.
There's been a time when I felt really othered and kind of ostracized a bit.
I've never heard.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Othered.
Go ahead.
My big thing was, obviously I told you guys where I come from and kind of, the things I went through in my life and the adversity I had to kind of like climb over and come through. And I don't think it's fair for artists, young people to feel like they have to fight for redemption from the beginning of their career. Everybody should have a clean slate. And whether that's a mental thing or a thing in reality, in real life, it doesn't matter, because if someone's perceiving something that way, that's how they feel, And so I just hope to be a voice of reason or a voice of inspiration for people to know that you can go through things in your life and even maybe be, a little damaged or affected by them. But that doesn't have to inform or create barriers.
Absolutely.
For your dreams to come true,
But don't you think that in a way it is systemic? Like you said, your approach to it was that you would be token.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And things like Strange Loop and things like that are breaking down that barrier and that ceiling and just we're all human. Let's just, and I can't wait till the system gets to that point to where we're all just on an even playing field.
Well, I think the commercialization of the Broadway model really has removed, I think, a bit of humanity from it.
Tim talks about that a lot.
And I think the thing that we love about musical theater is the community and the humanity of it all. So while we're like pretending to be these like extremely human characters on stage, everything backstage is like the exact opposite of that.
Right.
And so, whether, that be through producing or, I took a fellowship over the past year for actors who are pivoting to directing. I'm still in a place of where I think my experience and value could best be served and used.
I love that you're doing that because, you're like bigger, much bigger than the roles you're playing.
Thank you.
And it's great that you have focused yourself in that direction.
Right.
So you are thinking the potential of directing and producing as you should be.
Well, I've been in projects, big projects where I wasn't sure if the director knew my name.
Right.
Until they fired me. You know what I mean?
Right.
They knew my name then. You know what I mean?
Stop. That's hilarious.
So, I really, I've watched myself dig myself out of a hole once or twice, and
that's life, baby.
Have come back to shine even brighter on the other side of that. And so I want people to know that it's possible. You know?
Absolutely. Our friend Elizabeth Marcano, she said, wrote othered, which she liked that term.
I loved it too.
Because like at Susie Mosher's lineup, the video I saw, you were singing "Not My Father's Son."
Yes.
And at the Trevor Project, and you sang "Stranger in This World."
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there was one called Toxic Love, which all sounds like you're on the outside looking in.
Oh gosh, I guess it does, Tim, doesn't it?
those choices indicate. But with your learning about your background here today, and you telling people that, I think that's really, really important. I have to say this, I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room. I have a lot of friends that are not in the performance area, and they live in a white world where they hear about things happening to Black people, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with them. They feel bad, of course, and they would never do that. I think in the performance world, we are really lucky. We're really lucky because, and more different ethnic groups are being represented. Not enough, by the way. Right. But like with Strange Loop and the discussion we're having here, more and more. Right. As you become a director and producer, somebody like you could make a big impact.
Thank you.
If I grow in that area, I could make a big impact.
Right.
I've lived in African countries where I never felt white. I just felt completely accepted.
Right. Right.
So what goes on here in America is really, it's like not cool.
Right.
And I think it's up to all of us as artists. You can right that wrong.
Right. Well, especially for people like us who are very blessed to exist within these sort of elite and elitist spaces. I call Broadway the like equestrian of the theater world.
Yeah.
Like it's pay to play. It's an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Like someone who experienced like homelessness in my childhood and finding a life that serves who I am, what my infrastructure sort of is. I just want people to know that you can go through things like that and still have a career or a dream and really attain that.
Right. Absolutely. It's almost like the rules of the system of society do not apply on the musical theater stage.
Right. Well, because we're
more of a family
being squashed that would probably create safer spaces within our industry.
Yes.
We're not going to talk about that.
No,
here.
but also the arts in general. And any of us, we had Puma Pearl on last week. She's spoken word. She's a musician. She had worked as a social worker. She's been on the Lower East Side. She is still performing, and the things she writes are fierce. We have the freedom and the ability to do that, and that's a gift.
Art allows more flexibility. Yeah,
right.
In my opinion,
and see the world in a certain way.
Right. And help people see it that way as well.
Well, yeah, that's for me. 3/4 of it is being able to give back. Be where you are in your career. You could certainly. They've taken the arts out of a lot of the public schools in New York.
Right.
So the little private school kids are going to have theater and stuff like that.
Well, there's a definite clear pipeline.
Right.
We see these Montessori schools. We see the Michigans, the Carnegie Mellons having casting agents coming out of these programs.
Oh my God.
So of course you're going to cast your friends. I would do the same thing, but we need to open these things up to have the conversations based in reality.
Well, and another thing with me is, and it's kind of along that friend thing, is somewhere along the line, American entertainment has gotten away from real art and telling real stories. And it's more about money, like what will sell. Let's tell this story because they did it last year.
Commercialism of Broadway, right?
I know the story about the cast of Mamma Mia before, because there was a moment when they were still at the Winter Garden and they had fired everyone, right? And don't quote me, anyone who's watching in Cyberland. I heard, pray tell, that a producer saw some sort of numbers and he was like, how much are the actors making? Like he got wind of like people buying apartments and they were like, we have to stop this. They're making too much.
Fired.
And so the whole cast was like replaced and like, I'm sure paid less, but like, in what world is that equitable?
Oh my God.
We are called the Actors Equity Association, people. There should be equity.
I have had that personally happen to me, and it's January. Like I would lose something really big and I knew what happened. You would hear rumblings that the big wigs were coming in. I knew the first person that they were going to look at was how much the talent was getting paid. And you're 100% right. I was out the door.
Right.
And that's what amazes me is that they can repress the talent economically, but yet without the talent, you've got no show.
Exactly.
Right.
And they would not be making the money that they're making. So I'm one for let's just share. Let's create, perform real art and share.
And I'm all about subsidies. I you know what? My way with people that are buying all the $3 million starting studios in Manhattan, $3 million bucks. You got that kind of money. You're not even going to feel it. Let's have a big fund for the arts in New York where we can get these things produced. All right. Where people can put up shows that don't have the gazillion.
I agree.
I know.
Do that. Exactly. And Darius, you can help to write and produce and direct.
Because we're not letting you off the hook. And then I need to ask you, when can we expect the show that is totally and completely and we'll do it on Broadway, Your Life?
Oh
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I see who the grandmother is. And we see Darius in 3rd grade. I saw every single picture. I saw you getting fired, I think, or talked down to in Tokyo. I saw the disrespect.
Right.
When can we? Are you thinking of doing something like that?
Actually, I have a play that's in the works right now.
Yay.
I had a reading of it last year. It's called "Let Me Count the Ways," a memoir set to music. And actually, my featured guest, Robert Denzel Edwards, will be doing an excerpt from my script in my solo show on Friday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. at PANGEA.
There you go. Friday, February 3rd.
So you'll get a little glimpse of like what that world is, and but like I have a dark history in my childhood, and so I sometimes get scared that like that sort of the digestion of that is not always be received, as I would hope. But yeah, it's
well, you would be surprised. Firstly, how it is received, usually with open arms, and secondly, how liberating it is to your soul.
Wow.
And Tim can talk about that because his show, I thought I was going to a cabaret show with hearing about growing up in the Midwest with corn. And, Tim, a lot of Tim's numbers are very happy when you hear him sing. He's a happy guy. He spreads joy. His show was the furthest thing from that and the most so powerful. And I was like, how could you not have like let me know that you did this? Like when I met him, he said,
"Oh, through a thing or two."
He had done a cabaret show. He said, "Oh, you just missed my cabaret show." No, this was not like Hello Dolly. This was like, you're talking about the dark stuff. This guy lived it, and the dark stuff is really what people really connect to, because in your audience, someone's going to go, "Oh my God,
that's me."
Too. Right. That's me.
Right. And that's what I mean. And it's scary as hell, and it is frightening as hell. And it also will shake you to your core to have to revisit these places.
It really did him, but
once you do it,
I'm so sorry.
But once you do it and you lay it out there, you will be surprised how many people, like Wendy says, "Oh my God, I went through a similar thing." Like it's amazing. It's really amazing. I highly recommend you do. Very cathartic.
There was a catharsis, there are largely our themes of like being groomed as like a young teenager.
Yes.
And the people that after the reading that sort of aligned with that in their own lives, I was really surprised, that kind of going through something cathartic or a little bit painful, was received so well. So yeah, I look forward to.
Yeah, we're behind you, honey. 100%
cheerleaders.
Absolutely, we're your big cheerleaders here. And again, I cannot wait to see your show on February 3rd, 7 p.m. at PANGEA.
Woo!
Gentlemen, the wonderful and incredible Darius Anthony Harper.
Thank you for coming on today. And oh my God, I hope I see you on Sunday.
Yes, I will be there on Sunday with bells on.
Bells. Okay, very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.